Hello everybody, welcome to another video. California bans book bans and textbook censorship in schools. This will allow the superintendent of public instruction to financially penalize public schools and charter schools and provide books to kids if the schools willingly choose not to. According to Assembly Member Dr. Corey Jackson, he says it's our responsibility to fight for civil and human rights against anyone who tries to get rid of them. Now, my issue with this is that children are involved. And as parents, it is parents' responsibility to not allow children to have access to certain things, not just books. They have it for video games, they have it for movies. You can't go to the movies unless you're a certain age, have an ID. You can't buy a video game unless you're a certain age and have the ID to prove that you're that age. But for some reason, our public school thinks it's okay that our children can have access to any books they want. Now, I'm an advocate of free speech. I believe in free speech, but children do need to be censored, need to have some censorship because there are some things they just can't comprehend. They're simply too young, which is why movies, video games, and all these other things have this. My second problem with this bill is that they're not, it's not banning books of what people believe it is. The books that are being banned are books that children should not be reading. There's a huge list of them. You can get them. You can buy them. And I believe some of them, when you try to buy them, it even says you have to be a certain age to buy the book. But some of these books aren't showing just LGBTQ plus, my gender and all that stuff. What they're showing is sexual content, almost pornography to these children. And it's really disgusting. And that's why states such as Florida were banning books. That's why these other states also were banning books. It wasn't because they're right-wing ideologues. It's because they want to protect children from gaining access to sexual content at such a young age. So this is the problem with the book bans, is that they aren't acknowledging that that exists with this bill. The state, Gavin Newsom, they're not acknowledging that these books exist, and that is what parents are most disgusted with. They think they, for some reason, conflate the sexual activity of these books that's in these books that are being banned with, oh, they're banning LGBTQ plus friendly content or readings, which is entirely not true. So it is the parents' responsibility to really stop the state from doing this. The parents really need to get involved with their children in schools. Um, this is very dangerous territory. Normally, I do believe that the government should encourage freedom of speech and all that, but when it comes to children, it has to be censored. The parents have to be the ones to censor it, and the government shouldn't say what your child can and can't learn. Well, that's my take on it. Um, we shall see what happens with this in the future. I think this is going to be a big backlash to the state, to Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. Um, might not be today or tomorrow, but it's going to be a backlash because because children are going to get access to books that they shouldn't have access to. Parents are going to get really upset, and they're going to come for Newsom for it because they won't have the power to say they don't want their children reading that book. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that the state can provide books, not anything about wokeness or LGBTQ stuff or anything like that. But I want children to learn math, science, history, and just learn actual facts and learn actual skills that they can apply into the real world. Not all this left wing or right wing ideologue, but that's my take on it. So that's what I have for you today. we shall see what happens with this. And if some of you don't believe me about the content that some of these books have, please look it up. It is disgusting. It's mind-blowing to me. It's on the internet. You can find them on like eBay or Amazon. You can find them. You can buy them. And you can see this content that's there. So have a great one. Parents, keep an eye on your children. Please keep an eye on your children. Please filter with the content they have access to. I know with things like cell phones, it's hard, but as a parent, that's our responsibility, or your responsibility. I'm not a parent yet, but I know that children shouldn't have access to these things. It's to some of these things anyway. They're too young to comprehend it. So, well, that's what I have. I hope you all have a great Tuesday. I shall see you into the next video. You guys have a good one. Goodbye.